Yes guys, welcome back to a brand new league racing video here today on F1 2020, and we are back with AOR, as you can tell by the title, and for the Russian Grand Prix. Now really quickly guys, we've got some breaking news. Before we jump into it though, I'm going to quickly plug the previous race at Singapore, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out guys. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner of the screen. But here we go then, breaking news for this race and for the rest of the season. The guys in the F2 split, so the second split on PC, have been promoted to F1. So we now have once again a 20 driver grid and a complete F1 top split, which is awesome. So hopefully everyone sticks around and we'll close out the season with much more complete and full grids, which is something we've struggled with quite a while. You know, attendance has been pretty poor this year in the top split of AOR, and it's great to see more cars here in the mix, and also, you know, people trying to improve and be more competitive. And I can tell you a lot of these guys actually are seriously quick, so it's really exciting. It's more competition, more of a challenge for me, which I love, and it's going to mix things up a little bit as well and make it a bit more unpredictable. So really happy with that, and hopefully guys are happy with that too, and it's going to be the case now for the last few races of the season as we end the season. So yeah, I'm really excited and I can't wait to get started. So we're going to jump into qualifying, and to be fair, this is where already I could tell the new guys were putting some pressure on, and we had to level up our game. The problem is I really don't enjoy this track. It was really bad timing. I'm not particularly fast or, you know, just competitive at Russia. I also don't enjoy the track one bit, and that's a big problem for me. We're currently on my first time lap. I had a bit of oversteer there through that back chicane, and when I'm making my way through the front a couple of corners, about to end my first flying lap. We go P2, setting a respectable banker below a 1 minute 30, and I believe my best lap all round in time trials are 29.5, so if I can match that, I'll be really happy with it. We move on to my second time run, and we're now down to P6, and to be fair, other guys were a lot quicker than us. I was really struggling for pace. We can see here now at the end of the first sector we're a 10th up, but then I make a big mistake as we hit the wall. Very lucky to not lose my, you know, front left tyre and have the session over, but I was basically looking into the distance, into the next corner, and I wasn't focusing on the actual car, and I kind of fell asleep a little bit there and got distracted. So not ideal, and we leave it all down to the last run. I'm currently in P8. I know I can do a 0.5, you know, from time trial if I can nail it. And also worth noting, pole time right now is, I believe, a 29.2. So there's been some really fast guys. So it's all or nothing, and there is huge pressure on this lap. So at the final corner, making sure we get a really nice bit of traction, flat out through turn 1, of course, and now down towards turn 2. Nice and late on the brakes, 100 meter board, 4th gear, pick up your apex, use all that runoff on the left, and we get a nice bit of traction on the exit there as we carry the speed into turn 3. About 10th up as we head into turn 4, going to bring the car to the left and then really attack those curbs and using all the runoff, and even still gaining a bit more time as we're a 10.5 up in sector 1 and set a purple first sector. So a good start, but we get a bit of oversteer there, throwing away half a tenth on the exit, which is a bit of a shame. Then into the next right-hander here, just about keeping it on track limits, and we find a bit more time. We then absolutely nail this double left over the crest, but even then I actually somehow lost a bit of time, so I'm not sure how that happened. I must have literally hit a perfect left-hander there on my previous best lap. Either way, end of sector 2 wasn't particularly great for the previous right-hander, a little bit conservative, and we're just 2 tenths up here, so the pressure is on. I know most of the lap time is in this final sector, and straight away you can see through here I get a really nice run, but even then still losing a bit of time, and the lap isn't really going the way I want it to. But then through here, this is where I really made some progress. I had a bit of a scruffy chicane last time, and we're now over 3 tenths up into the final couple of corners here. Maximum commitment, just throwing the car into the final corner, and we improve by over 4 tenths of a second and move up onto the front row in P2 and set at 29.4, which is a tenth quicker than what I've been able to do around here in any game mode or session. So under pressure, we deliver when it matters, but crucially, it wasn't enough. At the end of qualifying, Paris manages to get a pole position. It's a 29.1, and my main title rival absolutely smashes it in qualifying here at Russia. And to make matters worse, Warren is in P2, making it a 1-2 for the Red Bull team, main rivals in the Constructors' Championship. So it's going to be complicated. We've got one of the new guys, Kalachu, in third place in the Renault. Great debut qualifying from him in third place. And then we ended up in P4. And then there's a bit of a gap there to Jan Fader in P5, who's ahead of Christian Sendel. Bogin, another newcomer, along with Duza as well. Pablo Futes, and then Hittinen, of course I've raced him before in F1 2019, he's also a newcomer. My teammate Florian, P11, starts outside the top 10, so he'll get the free tyre choice, so hopefully he can make those mediums work. Brownie, Michael Tonizza, BenQ, Cena LP, Cent, or S1 Cent, and then we've got Daigoro at the back of the grid. So yeah, overall there is a lot. Having said that, in a bit of a short review, I feel like if I'd hit a perfect lap, I think P2 was definitely possible if you look at the gaps, but P3 minimum. You know, I should have got that third place. That middle sector was a bit scruffy overall, and I didn't really maximise it that well. So a bit annoying to not be P3, but still second row not too bad considering I don't like this track one bit. Damage limitation at its best, you know, under pressure on the final run, and we're now going to move into the race. Now, speaking of the race, you know, I knew my race pace probably would be better, so I just have to make sure I get a clean start, because the run down to the second corner, technically speaking, is massive, and slipstream is really, really important, so we need to make sure we nail this start. And I've got the tyres in the right temperature window on these softs, and we're going to see if we can try and get a good run off the line and a challenge into the first corner. Damage limitation, you know, it's 1 Alpha versus 2 Red Bulls. My teammate's P11, so we're kind of alone here in this fight. So we're going to have to try our best to do the best we can for both championships. We get a decent start off the line. Everyone, though, all round pretty similar. Jan Fader probably getting the best start out of everybody in the McLaren. But look at this, already the slipstream effect working well. But Warren and Paris keeping a too wide kind of mid-track block. Really nice tactic from them, and it just meant that nobody could get by, but we get a great exit there out of turn 2, and then turn 3 now. We're going to just about get ahead of Kilachu. I tried to squeeze him, but he kept his nose in, but then we go down the inside into turn 4 and make the move stick. So already getting past the newcomer, of course, and, you know, using the fact that I've got a bit more experience in this top split to kind of just get past and get onto the back of the Red Bulls, which is where I need to be. And yeah, we're going to see how the race goes, because as far as Russian Grand Prix go, this one is probably one of the better ones. So strap in, folks, because I think you're going to have a good time here today. So we've got 26 laps ahead of us. Paris leads, a main title rival, and pretty much the only one now at this stage. Warren, P2, of course, rear gunner, and I was well aware both of them were speaking, you know, doing tactics between them, and planning, you know, for me in case I make any moves. So I knew I was at a disadvantage, and it's really, really tough, you know, when you've got two guys who have put in the practice, and, you know, you're at a disadvantage 2 against 1, and you've got to try and plan some kind of, you know, attack strategy similar to, I think the most visible example in esports is, I believe, the Red Bulls when they were leading in F1 esports with Rasmussen and Kiefer and Otmir trying to get past, you know, and it just wasn't possible because of the slipstream. Either way, lap 3, DRS now enabled. Kalachu keeping up with the pace. He's currently got the fast lap of the Grand Prix, but I'm chilling at the minute. I'm trying to not use too much ERS, which is quite hard to save around here. So really important to keep a nice bit in the reserve. Warren was starting to make a few mistakes. I could tell he was really quick over 1 lap pace, but not great in race trim. And you can see here, getting a bit close and put a bit of pressure on in this DRS zone. And another little lock up from him. And just generally speaking, little signs that I could see he was struggling with performance. He goes again here a bit defensive, takes a bit of a compromised line. I tried to get the cut back, but I wasn't really able to get the line through there. And crucially speaking, this is allowing Paris to start to pull away now. So team tactics working nicely for them, but not ideal. You know, if I was Warren, I would have hoped I could have stayed within DRS of my teammate so that it's even harder for me to get past. But either way, Paris set the pace, and we're now tucked in the slipstream, and we're going to have our first attempt at getting past Warren here. Down towards turn number 2, we're going to swoop to the outside. You can see his light just flashed there, which means he's running very low on ERS. Warren, they're trying to give me a squeeze, but there was no way I was going to go around the outside there. So this is frustrating. You can see Paris is vanishing off in the distance, and this is not helping me one bit. I tried to challenge a little bit here because my overspeed was really, really strong. We know Warren has no ERS left. The light is flashing a lot, so he's floating between 10 to 15%, whereas I'm a little bit higher right now. We tried to have a bit of a look around the outside here, something different, but I wasn't quite able to make that one work. And we've got to hang back for now. We still got Kalachu and Fela right behind as well. So one mistake, and we're going to be in big trouble here. So we need to make sure we make this move nicely and commit to it. So we're going to try again. exit the final corner. We're not as close as last lap. Kalachu right on my rear wing as we head into the DRS zone. Down towards turn 2, we're going to try and get this move again, using a lot more ERS this time as we lose one of the cars. And then to the outside of turn 2, we get a virtual safety car. And again, just frustrating. You know, I tried so hard and I drained all my ERS to try and make that move. And the VSC just stopped me from, you know, going for it, which was a bit of a shame. But then the VSC ended at the perfect time. I was also very quick. You know, I reacted perfectly. I know Warren has no ERS left and we're going to make this move. And this time, there is no defense because we are much quicker and we make the move easily. So there we go, P2. We dispatch Warren and we can now chase after Paris, who is 2 seconds up the road currently. And to be fair, his pace was really strong. He managed to push the gap out to 2.3 seconds as I get my first warning for track limits. And just generally speaking, I was trying to reel him in, but I feel like I was actually overdriving the car a little bit. Paris managed to push the gap up to 2.6 seconds, so he was gradually just pulling away every single time. And I was struggling to really make progress. Yellow flag behind as Kalachu makes an error. I believe he spun out of turn 4. And that's triggered a yellow flag, and he's dropped out of the top 5, which is a shame for him. He's having a great race up until that point. And then just a couple of corners later, right through here, you'll see now in the bottom left and also on screen, we get another yellow, so another incident further back. Not quite sure what that one was. But yeah, you can see in the meantime, I've got the gap to Paris down to 2.3 seconds actually, and it's now down to 2.2 seconds on lap 8. So I was just starting to chip away and get back within 2 seconds as the soft tyres started to fade away a little bit. But then Warren pits and picks up a 3-second time penalty in the process. And looks like Christian Sendel, Norbert Jakob, they all pit. So at the minute, there is a big risk that Warren could ruin my race again here via an undercut. So I need to make sure that we are perfect on this in-lap. So yeah, we need to really use all the pace we have left and use all the ERS, all the tricks that I know to make sure we hold on to P2. And at the end of lap 9, we have a bit of FPS issues here from my stream. I'm not sure what happened. I had a bit of a drop in frames, but luckily you can still more or less see what's happening. So we are going to pit. We managed to get the gap to Paris down to 2 seconds, and we need to make sure now this pit stop is absolutely perfect. We're going to go into the medium tyres and just hope for the best. So as you can see, Paris goes into his pit box. We're now going to go into ours, and it's going to be a 2.5, 2.6. That's the kind of regular pit stop you get in a multiplayer race. And away we go. Crucially, we don't get held. Really important. And you're going to see now the power of the undercut, because my in-lap was pretty decent, but fresh tyres makes a big difference. And you'll see here in the top left, Jan Fehler got the earliest undercut out of everybody. He's got Warren right behind him, and behind them is Christian Sendel. All three of these guys on the undercut. Down towards turn 2, I had to go really late on the brakes just to make sure nobody got around the outside. But look at Christian Sendel in the Ferrari getting the cutback, and he gets past Warren and Jan Fehler. And a 2-for-1 special, really nice move from him. And I'm just going to use this battle to just try and pull away and get a gap early on. But you can see in the process of all of that, it wasn't ideal. I took a very compromised line, and you know, especially into turn 2, I lost a lot of momentum. Meanwhile, Paris, he got past the traffic. He was setting purple laps, and the gap has gone from 2 seconds on pit entry up to 3.3, which is a real shame. So we've lost a lot of time and a lot of progress as we make our way past the racing point. I run a bit wide through there. Luckily, we don't get a warning because I actually lost a bit of time running it a bit too hot. But nonetheless, we got into lap 12. I was having some big issues with these tyres. Just couldn't seem to get any grip or momentum, and it was really frustrating. Fehler and Warren dropped off the pace a bit because they were battling. I believe maybe had some wing damage. So that meant Norbert Jakob was up to P5 and Christian Sendel was P4. But then my teammate retires from the race. Florian Napik has a crash. He's out. And worth noting, Brownie in the race lead has not pit yet on the medium tyre. So he is going to be in the driving seat here to benefit from this massively. He's going to go onto soft tyres around a track where tyre wear is very low, and he's going to have a huge advantage. As you can see here, he's currently pitting, strapping on the soft compound tyres. Admittedly, he's got quite a way to go to the end of the race, but he's not going to be the only one. I believe Jan Fehler is also going to pit for the soft tyres as well. And we skip onto the restart, and once everything kind of, you know, settled down and relaxed, Paris was in the lead. We are P2, Nubba Jakob is third, and then Brownie on fresh soft tyres is P4. So he's going to be probably winning this race. We're going to try and do our best though to try and beat Paris. That's the target. The gap that we once had, which was 3+ seconds at one point, is now nothing. So we've got a chance here to try and make something happen. I knew straight away Paris was going to try and drain all of his ERS and try to break the 1 second barrier. That is normal. I was trying to hold onto my ERS as much as I could. You can see already halfway through the lap, I get a second warning for track limits, and the gap is already 1 second. So Paris is really, just putting the pace on here and putting the pressure on, and I can't quite respond. I was trying to, get back within a second, but generally speaking, he was really going for it. It's a new purple lap. I'm not quite able to respond, and Brownie now is up to third place on soft compound tyres, so he's going to be on the back of us very soon. And here we go then, lap 18, Paris 1.1 clear. He's got just about enough of a gap. DRS is now enabled. I'm not going to have DRS on him, and here comes Brownie then, so he's going to get the run. I thought about defending, but then I realised there's no point. I'm going to let Brownie just go past. We're not going to fight it, let him take the race in line, and we're going to see if we can use Brownie to try and get back onto Paris, because I've still got plenty of ERS. So if I can just get back within range, we're going to be in a good position here, because I know for a fact Paris is running pretty low on energy. And here goes Brownie, and he's going to make the move. Paris is not going to fight it. He knows what's going to happen here. And I think, realistically speaking, Paris's game plan at this stage is to just follow Brownie and hope that he can drag him away and that I don't get within a second. But unfortunately for him, I was ready, I was prepared to respond, and I was just about able to keep within a second here. And that was the crucial turning point, because Brownie started to set the pace, purple lap after purple lap, and he was actually starting to drop Paris out of the DRS range, which meant he was going to come back to me. And this is the moment I've been waiting for all race. So as you can see, Brownie's pulled away. Paris does not have DRS. Lap 22, it's game on, and we've now got a big chance here. We've got a lot more ERS, and I'm going to try and make this move. So down towards turn 1, I'm going to just have a little bit of a look, see what we're saying, test the waters a little bit. I'm in no rush to make this move straight away. We do have, though, Jan Fehler right behind us on soft tyres now, so I can't afford to take forever to make this move. Jan Fehler is quicker than me, so here we go, lap 23. And this is the big moment of the race, and I guess the controversy in a way. So here we go, down towards turn 2. This time we've got the overspeed. Paris goes defensive. We're going to go to the outside into turn 2, and then there's going to be contact. We get forced off the track, and unfortunately we get an illegal overtake, so I have to go down to lead mix and give up position. But in the process, that allows Jan Fehler to also get in on the action and make the pass. We get a beautiful cutback on him, to be fair, out of there. Really, really nice, and I just about get in front. But then again, to the next corner here, Fehler gets me back. Another really nice cutback, and I've got nowhere to go. I'm on the outside, which is not ideal, and I have to concede the position. But this is bad, because Paris held on to second place, amongst all this carnage and this great little battle, and I've lost out. So, I reported the incident to the stewards. The verdict was that Paris was to blame, and he received 5 penalty points for the action, for forcing me off the track. So at least the stewards decided that there was an incident, and it was on Paris's side, which was good. But I've still got work to do, because he's not going to get a time penalty or nothing, so I need to get past. Of course, you can't forget, I am on 2 warnings, so if I get 1 more and I get a time penalty, I'm finishing this race, P5. So we need to stay composed and try and do the best we can.
Oh, DRS train. Fuck.
You can hear in the background, I was really frustrated. The way the race was going, because Paris had drained all of his energy, and so did Fehler. Fehler wasn't able to close up on Paris, also because the soft tyres were starting to go away, which meant there was a bit of a DRS train starting to form. And you can see, Fehler's like constantly flashing here. I'm trying to put some pressure on into turn 3 and turn 4, trying to see if I can force him into an error. I know his soft tyres are struggling at this stage, but I'm not quite able to make anything happen. Also, Brownie out front in the lead is struggling on these soft tyres as well. Paris is actually catching him back up. And I was getting very, very worried, what if Brownie runs out of tyres and Paris actually re-overtakes and brings home the race win? That would have been really, really scary. So, I was a bit concerned about that. So I had to respond, and you can see now I am going to try and get back past Fehler as soon as possible here. So we're going to use everything we've got left on the ERS to try and make this pass stick And luckily we do. We go down the inside and we make a nice overtake, nice and tidy and crucial because we need those extra points. You know, damage limitation, that's what it's all about. Of course, we've got a big gap in the championship, but I want to make sure it comes down as least as possible. But now we've got P3, we head to the last lap of the race, and Paris goes for a huge attempt at a dive on Brownie here. You're about to see what happens now through the left. Paris goes for it, big send on the brakes, there's contact, and somehow there's no spin. I don't know how, very fortunate, but he tried it, it backfired on him, and I was really thankful because if Paris won the race, that would have been bad news. But luckily, Brownie will hold on. He'll benefit the most from the safety car and picks up the 25 points. And we finish in P3. So we start P4, finish in third. We took the fight to the Red Bulls, and crucially, Warren was nowhere to be seen at the end of the race. So in the end, we do manage to limit the damage in both the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championships. Could have been better. I feel like I had the advantage on Paris at that stage when I made the move, but it wasn't to be. And we go again in the next race in Japan, and all I've got to do is make sure in the next one that I qualify better and just don't give Warren or Paris the opportunity to disrupt or get in the way of my race. So yeah, in the end, you can see the race results. Brownie picks up, I believe, his second win of the season. I could be wrong. Paris in second. We finish in third on the podium once again. Failer fourth. Bogan on his debut P5. Hittinen also on his debut P6. Padlo Futes P7. They got off from last place on the grid up to 8th. Warren finishes P9 in the end with 15 seconds worth of time penalties. And Duza rounds out the top 10 with Christian Sendel missing out on the points, along with Sign, Tonidza, Kilachu, BenQ, Florian, and S1 Cent. We then move into the driver standings, and I've had to do these all myself, so hopefully you guys appreciate them and leave a like for that. But we still lead the championship with 33 points clear at the top, so we're looking pretty decent, over a race win in our pocket. Paris in second. Brownie moves up to third place in the championship and ahead of Failer with that race win, so fair play to Brownie for that one. Padlo Futes P5, Krasix P6, Strippy, Sandel, Warren, and Kimi has round out the top 10 with Florian still in P11 in the driver standings. And then we move into the constructors, and we still lead by 8 points over Red Bull. So crucially, we didn't lose the lead, and my race performance was enough to hold on to that. So really happy with that one. And the battle is still, between us really. Mercedes still have an outside chance, as do McLaren, but generally speaking, we'll see how the new guys perform. All the people that got drafted up from F2, if they perform, then maybe you could see a bit of a change in fortunes. For Renault, McLaren, Mercedes, they could get back in the mix. But for now, it's looking like Alpha versus Red Bull, and we're going to see how that goes. But guys, that is going to be it for today's video. A pretty decent Russian Grand Prix. I hate the track, but the race was good fun, and hopefully we can have a better race next time as we go to Japan next. My favourite race on the entire calendar, which I absolutely love, and I can't wait for that one. I'm going to put the work in and make sure that we are on the pace. But guys, like, subscribe, check out the previous episode on screen right now, and I'll see you guys next time for another episode of League Racing content very soon. But until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.